Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Glad you guys are here. On the show today, I like kind of how I say that. On the show today.
Woo-hoo, on the show today.
Our big show. Here we go.
Yeah.
Quiet on the set, everybody.
Yeah.
But
Hold the phone calls.
Yeah, exactly. Please. Why do most millennials prefer texting over face-to-face communication? That's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. We're going to share how we met.
We're going to share how we met?
Yeah, it seems like that's like the number one question. I don't know why, but everybody wants to know why we met.
We do get asked a lot how we met, just in conversation when we meet people.
I guess I should say everyone, but almost everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to go into some detail about that. And,
it's a fun story, so it's fun to share.
I mean, I felt like we felt it was so great. We put it in the back of the book. Has technology left us speechless, just because so many people are asking us. We're kind of like, here, read the book. But we figured, hey, we better do it for the podcast, just tell the full story, and figured that'd be a good way to do it.
It's a good story. I like it.
Especially
it has a happy ending too.
It does. It's getting even happier. And why the Novaks have balls in their dryer?
Yeah,
I think I know what that one's
That's
about.
a good one. We have 4 balls in our dryer.
And I remember. Okay, well, this
we'll
PG-13,
talk about that.
Okay.
We saved the best for last on that one, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to get started here. Why millennials prefer texting over face-to-face communication, and I have a little snippet. I like these little snippets of news stories that I'm going to share with you. Millennials struggle with face-to-face communication because they've always had the ability to edit a message when they're texting and emails.
You can't edit a conversation.
You can't, you can't take your words back.
We can't really edit this podcast. I mean, I know there's been a couple times like, ooh, wish I could edit that. But you know what?
You won't let me.
I won't.
I would love to edit the podcast. True. But you know what? If we have 20 minutes of footage.
But honestly, your favorite podcasts are the people that are kind of a little crazy, don't say everything exactly perfect, and just kind of fully transparent and tell like it is. So I use that kind of as a sales technique back at you, saying, look, there's no reason to edit because you like that. So therefore other people are going to like that about us because we want to be real. I don't want to be just like we talk. We have the upcoming, actually a podcast we've already done where we talk about, filters and those type of things.
Oh, the Snapchat filters.
Yeah, where that's kind of not real, right? So also I think doing podcasts like this is if you're going to edit everything up and make every word perfect and, make sure you're,
Boy, it's pretty humbling when I go back and when I listen to the podcast, if I pronounce something wrong or say something that I didn't want to, I'm like, oh, can we please edit that? And Todd's like, no, this is real. Right. This is how we're doing it.
Because I know there's a few words that you say more than once that you're not happy with.
Oh, yeah. I love to say, you're going to find out there's words that I love to say more than once.
But we all do. But that, if we were to record our conversations because we're being real, people would be like, man, I can't believe I say that, or I can't believe I say that many times. I mean, I do that with salespeople. That's one of my techniques is I record their presentation and then we listen to it. And
they're blown away.
They're blown away. Yeah. They can't believe it. And then sometimes we do videotaping where we videotape them. And then I coach them and go through that. And that is so eye-opening because they get to look at their body language for the first time on how they present and how they're acting. And that's huge in sales. Yeah.
So millennials, it seems like they can craft because when they're texting and emailing, they can craft exactly what they want to say. They have time to think about it.
And they can stop the conversation whenever they want and just move on to something else.
That's true. That's true.
You can't do that in a conversation like, oh, see you later. Bye.
That's true.
And people will be like, that's rude.
I'm just going to read a little more of this. While the ability to edit has its advantages in that we get to come off in our best light, that's not always the most human approach.
True. We're
supposed to make mistakes, like we were talking about.
There you go. Yeah. I think we covered that one.
With what we say sometimes, the errors contribute us to being mentally stronger, which I think the other day you talked about being mentally strong and how important it is.
Right. Yeah, I did about 11-minute video on that live on Facebook about Tiger Woods being so mentally strong that how did he come back the way he did with all odds against him? Like most people thought he didn't have a chance. I mean, they wanted to. He has a great fan base now, but people just didn't think he'd ever come back because of his physical injuries and everything. But I always felt, not that we're going to talk about that too much, but just I felt like his mental toughness was so strong that he would come back. And look at it, he won the last tournament of the year. So
well, I think it would be great for millennials just to do public speaking or do a podcast where you can't edit it. You learn so much.
People have heard of Toastmasters, I'm sure. And, as professional speakers, I thought, I don't need Toastmasters. That's nothing I need. And I remember one professional speaker, actually a world champion speaker, said he uses Toastmasters to practice new material on to get feedback. And I thought, that's brilliant.
Good. That's a good
so when
idea.
you think about it, Toastmasters is good for anybody, professional speakers, not professional speakers, but especially those that have never communicated standing up. And what it does is it helps. It's a very safe environment, but it lets people hear you, and then you get positive feedback, and you get some corrective criticism, and you just sharpen yourself, and you just become better and better and better. So if you haven't tried Toastmasters, it's probably one of the best economic deals out there. I think it's $60 a year or $70. Just amazing. They get a nice manual. So millennials. What's
going to happen with millennials? I mean, how are they going to learn how to have good face-to-face communication when they're just texting and emailing all the time and not having that much? Should they teach it in school maybe?
Sure. Well, that'd be great. But, I honestly think, and I know I'll probably get some comments on this, but I think it starts with the parents. Okay. I think it starts at home.
That's fair.
I think it's the parents' responsibility to teach kids. Now, I've seen millennials that are very great at communication and look you in the eye and shake your hand and say, very glad to meet you. And, I have a child in our family. Her name is Xylee. And at 8 years old, she blew my mind. So think about this. 8 years old, she went to have her picture taken, right, at school. Like we've all had our pictures taken at school.
Oh yeah, I love.
And the photographer, yeah, right. And the photographer that was doing photographs for 25 years for schools. Now think about it, 25 years, thousands and thousands of kids that he's photographed, right? He's actually taken pictures of. And he said, and he called up to let the parents know of the family, of our family, and I happened to be there, and said, we just have to compliment you on how incredible Xylee is in her manners. And we're like, for what? He said, this is the first time in 25 years that a little kid came up to me after I took a picture and said this, said, sir, I want to shake your hand and tell you what a great job you did.
That's awesome. Well, that is amazing for, a kid to do that.
Any age, right?
Yeah.
But she did that because her dad and mom are amazing.
Yeah, they're teaching her those good life skills that she has, and she is amazing.
Dee and Brittany do a great job, and so that's a reflection. So that's where I say, look, it's up to the parents.
It starts,
it starts there. I mean, the parents aren't, the total answer because, it's up to the individual, right? We're all individuals. But if they demonstrate that and they teach them those things, I believe children will
teach your kids it's not a perfect world. They don't have to be perfect all the time. They don't have to craft those perfect text messages and emails, if it's just on a friendly basis, on professional, I believe that, crafting and being professional and no errors is a good thing. But you know what? It's just,
the whole abbreviation game and, using, LOL, which is fine, but then there's certain words that people aren't even spelling anymore because it's just easier just to put a couple.
And then they're using those in professional emails.
And they're actually, not only that, they're actually using it in conversation, which is rather than saying the words, which is totally crazy.
Bottom line, nothing's perfect. So let's just quit crafting everything so much.
But millennials, back to that, hey, get with your parents to help you. Find friends that are outgoing, they're good conversationists, and ask them, hey, work with me, help me. I mean, there's so much help out there. Toastmasters, like I said. And you know what? Think about this. You have all these, and I'm probably getting off and tell me to be quiet if I need to, but.
Well, we probably do need to move on to the next story. We'll be here for a while.
But you have these senior homes. And I've always thought these senior homes, you have these such incredible people that have lived such great lives. And you have this younger generation, if they went and visited them and actually built a relationship, that
would bring so much joy to them.
Well, yeah, they're going to get joy out of it, but these kids are going to get such wisdom and save such headaches in life from asking questions and just visiting. So
that's a good idea.
I don't know, maybe there's a ministry out there like that, or maybe someone needs to start one, but just hooking up those, young millennials with those grandparents, those great grandparents that are in these homes that are just no one's visiting them, I think it would just be amazing.
They could share their wisdom. That is a good idea.
So there you go.
Todd.
So let me know if you guys start that, someone out there, and I would love to be part of that or help out or something, however I can do that. So I think we're going to talk about how we met. So this is like one of those subjects people will say, oh, how did you guys meet? And so you want to start or you want me to?
You know what? You can. You can go ahead and start. I'll just pop in.
So I was currently living outside of New Mexico, and I started getting a lot of clients here.
Living outside of New Mexico?
Oh, I'm sorry, outside of California.
Yeah, you were living in New Mexico.
Yeah, I was living in New Mexico. I was living outside of California, right? And thanks for the correct. See, I'm not perfect.
Yeah,
and so I started getting a lot of business with plastic surgeons, and there's a lot of plastic surgeons in Newport Beach. You can imagine, quite a few of them, hundreds and hundreds of them. And so we ended up getting clients out here. And so one of the things that I used to do, I don't work with a lot of plastic surgeons anymore. Still do a little bit here and there, but we would work with the patient care coordinator, because the patient care coordinator is the key to that successful practice.
Like the salesperson for
they're the ultimate salesperson. I mean, the doctor does a big part of it, but the closer, the person that talks numbers, asks for the money, is this patient care coordinator. And for the most part, it's people that don't know much about sales. And you know, there is a young girl that looks really pretty and you know, has had some work done, or it's the older lady that's had a bunch of work done, and it's kind of like the masterpiece, like, look what I can do, right? And so we started looking for different patient care coordinators. And so I remember we ran an ad
on Craigslist.
So usually when people ask us, how'd you guys meet? So I got Joyce kind of trained on this. She even says it now. I'm like, well, we met on Craigslist. And then
it's a funny joke.
Right, and we don't say anything. And they're like, really? You guys met on Craigslist? Yeah. Did you, like, who ran an ad or whatever? I said, no, I ran the ad.
Creepy. When you say that, that just sounds creepy.
It does. But technically it was true. And so I ran the ad, and I remember you responded. And
I'll take it from here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, take it from here.
So I was at a point in my life where I was looking for a new job, and I wanted to get into sales. And I had girlfriends that were in the beauty industry, and they had sales jobs, and just seemed really happy with it. And I love the beauty background. And so I wanted to be a patient care coordinator. That's the job I was looking for. So I saw this ad on Craigslist, and I responded to it. And I felt like I was one in a million people responding to the job. It just sounded so awesome. And I was one.
Thank you. That was my writing skills, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Because the key to finding the right person is writing the right ad.
That's true. Attracting the right people to the ad.
Exactly.
So I responded to the ad, and I got a response that I had an interview with Mr. Tod Novak via, we didn't have Zoom at that time, so it was Skype.
Yeah, it was Skype.
Via Skype. And I didn't have a camera on my computer, but you know, when you want a job and you just do what it takes. So I'm like, okay, I need to find a camera. And my girlfriend's like, oh, just come over to my house. And
by the way, that's one of the, because what my job is to not to necessarily hire the right person, but to eliminate as many people as.
Because people probably would say, I don't have a camera. I
Correct.
Can't
and
do
they were
Skype.
eliminated immediately. Like, if you couldn't figure out how to do that.
Solution.
Because I need it in sales, you have to be solution selling, right? And so if you're, I had people say, oh, I don't have access to a camera. Now, again, this was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And, you know, I don't know how to use Skype, or can you help me? It was like, my office was like, no.
Yeah,
we're not interested. So go ahead.
So I went over to my girlfriend Trisha's house, and I used her computer for the interview. And
shout out to Trisha. I know you're listening.
Hey, Trisha, we love you. So during the interview process, I just, you know, Todd was doing the interview, and I just felt, I felt this attraction. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but a connection.
Connection. Attraction. I would say that was
I felt this
connection.
So, which probably made me even a little more nervous. So, at the end of the interview, he offered me a second interview. He was going to be in Newport Beach at the
let me say one thing.
office.
I want to help people out here. One of the things that you did what was so great in the interview, and these are folks that maybe looking for a job, or maybe have kids that need to get jobs, but you were prepared. And what do I mean by that? You went to my website ahead of time. You did research on me.
I did.
You,
a lot.
You made yeah, I found out later I got stalked.
A little bit.
But what I learned is from you is that you said this really key phrase. You said, look, because I really wanted someone that understood sales and that
I didn't
had
have
a background.
much
And you didn't have a background in that. But what happened was you said, look, I don't know a lot about sales, but that's my passion and my dream. And if I can do anything, I want to learn sales right now. And I looked at your website, and I feel like if there's anyone out there, it's you that can help me. So even if I don't get the job, if there's some way that you could help me, I would pay you whatever.
I want to learn from you. You have experience. I want to learn sales.
But see, that was just smart. So what did you do? You added credibility by doing research ahead of time. Yeah, you stroked my ego a little bit, but that wasn't so much the point of. I was like, wow, she's being transparent. Back to what we said at the beginning of the podcast. You were very honest. And so that took you from an immediate no to, okay, this
possibility. Let's have
right?
a second interview.
Exactly. So that was all you. So believe it or not, that was sales on your part. You were selling me. So you did a good job there.
Ah, thank you. So we had the interview at the second interview at the plastic surgeon's office here in Newport Beach. And how many people did you interview?
Well, we did 25 Zoom.
How many people applied for the job?
About 185.
Woohoo! Good for me. 185.
Yeah.
It got down to what? 25.
Got down to 25, and then we eliminated. We got it down to 5, and then we did 5 face-to-face interviews, and then you made the cut for that down to 3.
Yeah, but let me go into that a little bit. So at the plastic surgeon's office, where I was interviewing with Todd and the plastic surgeon, during the interview, when we're supposed to be interviewing with the plastic surgeon, he was caught up, with a consultation. So Todd and I had like probably 45 minutes to an hour just to kind of sit and talk. And he was asking me questions, getting to know me, and I was asking questions to him, which led this attraction to happen even a little more.
Which, quite honestly, I had no clue because I was so focused on business. I mean, I wish I kind of would have known, but I didn't. I was just like business. And I was just doing, because I was trying to get her to loosen up, because I wanted to find out.
I was nervous.
Right, but I wanted to find out the real Joyce.
Yes.
And so I was trying to hear, where you were from, what your background was, and got to learn that you were from Centerville, Iowa, and a little town. And so you probably thought maybe I was not flirting, but trying to get to know you.
No, I appreciated it that you were, getting to know me. And so, like I said, I felt this attraction even a little more. So the doctor finally came in, and the 3 of us had the interview, and then
So then we had a meeting with the I had a meeting with the doctor, and you weren't our first choice.
Aww.
Sorry. We had another person that was had a background as a patient care coordinator, and a little bit younger, but not much. But
really? You're gonna throw age? But age
wasn't it. No.
Don't even go there.
No.
Mister.
I'm saying that's what I'm just saying that's what the doctor said.
But
not
doctor.
that it matters. We're not we're not discriminating age here, because that's against the law. But anyways, so so we went. You were my second pick, and you were the doctor's third pick. So then we ended up making an offer to the first lady, and that worked out really well. And then I think what happened was out of respect, I called the 5 people, and I let them know that they didn't get chosen.
Yes.
And so I remember calling you, and I think I left a message for you, correct?
You did, because I was at brunch with my girlfriends.
Right. So that was right. So you're at brunch with your girlfriends, and you're having brunch, and then you're expecting a call from me.
And they were excited for me, because I was excited about this job. And
right. So you're like, hey, I'm gonna, hopefully I'll get this job. And then I guess you had a backup plan, right? So how did that go?
Excuse me. Make me choke on the backup plan. Anyway, so the backup plan, I had told my girlfriends, let me get a little bit of water here.
That's fine. Yeah, so your backup plan was you were talking to your girlfriends, and I guess you were telling them.
And I said, I feel this attraction with Todd. So, but if I get the job, I'm not going to mix business with pleasure. Just going to get the job and go from there, learn from Todd, do what I need to do. But if I don't get the job, I know that he's in Newport Beach once a month visiting the doctor. So I'm going to ask him when he's in town if he wants to have a cup of coffee or have dinner. And they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. I think you should do that.
So then I called, and she's at brunch, and she steps away, which I didn't know at the time. And I told her real quick, I said, hey, look, I'm sorry. I just wanted you to know. And now the behind the scenes look that you didn't know about is I was in the car with somebody else, a personal family member.
And I was on speakerphone.
And you were on speakerphone.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of letting you down. I said, look, by the way, you were my second pick, so number 1 doesn't work out. Would you be available? And you said, absolutely. And then I remember you saying, well, now that we got that out of the way. And I was
I got that.
And I was like, what?
Now I'm going to put the moves on you.
Yeah, it's like, I know you come to Newport Beach, and, often would you like to get together for coffee or dinner or something? And my response was, because I was in a situation I couldn't have that conversation, I simply said, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, just a real quick, okay.
And I got to go.
Bye.
And I said, bye. So now you got a picture. Joyce is walking back to brunch with all her girlfriends at the table.
Didn't get the job. I asked Todd if he wanted to have, coffee when he's in town. Just kind of like, I took it as kind of a blow off,
right?
So I was like, okay.
So you didn't get the job. You didn't get the guy. It's like another mimosa kind of thing.
Another mimosa. Keep looking for, this dream job.
So then about an hour later, I called you back.
I thought you were butt dialing me.
And it's so funny because who carries their phone in their butt? I don't.
I know, but that's what it's called.
I call it a hand dial.
A hand dial.
Because that's how it happens. You do it by your hand. But anyways,
I thought you hand dialed me.
That's another time. That's another podcast. So yeah, you thought I hand dialed you or butt dialed you, and you answered the phone and you were surprised. And I said, look, I wanted to apologize. I was in a situation and I couldn't talk to you. And I said I was flattered. I said I would absolutely love to have dinner with you. I said, forget coffee, let's go to dinner. And
you just went straight for the dinner.
Straight for dinner.
The coffee, we're gonna go have some dinner.
And so that's kind of what happened. And then ever since then, we had this long distance relationship for months. And
we talked every day. Every day we would fall asleep and we weren't texting or emailing. Well, we did that too, but we talked on the phone. We talked so long I would fall asleep sometimes at night, and my ear would hurt from talking on the phone so much. But it was awesome. Funny. But we got to know each other, I think, probably better than a lot of people that have been married for years, because we talked about everything and just had those long, awesome conversations.
And, being a communication expert, and obviously I do sales, but I also believe a great salesperson is a great communicator. I've done marriage retreats and done couples retreats, and I just knew I wanted to ask tough questions, and I wanted to really get to know you. And I didn't want to get into a relationship down the road and go, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Because, it's all saying everyone's got, junk in the
trunk in the
trunk or in the closet.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out what was in the closet, because we all have it, right?
I don't have anything in the closet.
You don't have much. I agree. But you got to really ask the right questions, and you got to build that relationship. So, it was good that we didn't have this romantic relationship or physical or anything. It was strictly just, mental and emotional.
Really getting to know
and I think that was huge. And then, hey, the rest is history. So,
and Todd moved to Newport Beach.
And then my joke was, all my friends in Albuquerque, I say, I met this girl in Newport Beach, and it's awful. She's making me move to Newport Beach, California.
And
now I have to live
here. Move to Newport Beach.
I know, and no one felt sorry for me. And still to this day, they're like, yeah, I'm sorry, Todd. And then they meet Joyce. They're like, yeah, I can see why you moved to Newport Beach.
So we just celebrated our 6-year anniversary last week. And,
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Pretty exciting. So that's it in a nutshell. I know we get kind of long on that, but we wanted you guys to have the real story.
Know about our relationship, since our podcast is about relationships. I think it's important.
Absolutely. And if you guys have a relationship question or a comment, put that in the comments, whether you're listening to this on iTunes or YouTube or wherever, or Facebook, wherever this is. I don't know. It's going all over.
I think we're on Stitcher too.
It's going viral. But wherever it is, we want to hear from you. Put your comments to those. So real quick, we got to talk about the balls and drivers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we can't leave the balls out.
And then we got to close up. So long story short, I went to Trader Joe's. And I'm one of these guys, I always find something to buy.
Well, we love the section where they have all the new items.
Correct.
We always look at that. We're always trying all the new items.
And so I went by myself this time, and I came back with this little burlap bag with these 4 light tennis balls.
They're like the size of a tennis ball, and they're made out of wool.
And you can add essential oils to them and stuff. And so what you basically do is you put them in your dryer, and it fluffs up everything and makes it smell good. But more importantly, you ever put a bunch of I sound like a girl right now, right? But you ever put a bunch of sheets in the dryer, and then or towels, and they get all clumped up, and it's like half of them are dry, and then the center parts aren't, still kind of damp.
Helps the clothes dry more evenly and faster.
Exactly. So it kind of flips them around. I'm sure we could probably just throw tennis balls in and do the same thing. But hey, Trader Joe's.
And plus, it saves from using the fabric, the softer sheets that
which
have
I don't like
toxic
fabric softener. But hey, for $6 and Trader Joe's is great.
Well. Now the only negative, and the essential oils, I really like the lavender and peppermint oil. It makes your towels and everything smell very good. The only downfall is they're loud. They clump around in the dryer, but
most people have a door to close in the laundry room, so you don't have to hear it. So, hey guys, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed our show. Again, shoot us your relationship questions. Let us know what you're thinking of
On with the
Novaks. You can reach out to us at toddnovak.com/OWTN, or just go to toddnovak.com and you'll see podcasts and it'll be there. Or go to Stitcher, or go to iTunes, or tell your friends, tell your neighbors, even your enemies.
And if you want to laugh, go to YouTube, because we're on video, and that would probably just make it extra entertaining.
And, everybody says subscribe, but it's kind of cool. I didn't realize this, but when you subscribe, like on YouTube and Stitcher and all these places, when there's a new podcast that comes up,
you get an alert.
You get an alert, and you automatically know, so you don't have to go back and try to figure out how to get back to it and stuff. So, cool. Subscribe, right? Tell everybody to subscribe, and that's all I got. Just Todd and Joyce, and
make it happen.
All right.